So this week, as I was saying to the folks that were here last night, we're looking at various psalms. There's a psalm set for each day. And we're thinking of the ways in which we encounter God. Ooh, don't worry about that. Which we encounter God. And Psalm 46, we love to think it's "Be still and know that I am God." Well, I'm going to read it in a version that John Goldingay, who was my Old Testament professor at St John's College, Nottingham, and has translated from the Hebrew. He's very good at Hebrew, and he's very good at coming up with ways of thinking about Scripture that you hadn't really thought of before to challenge you. So this is his version, his translation of Psalm 46. God is for us refuge and strength, a help in troubles, readily available. Therefore we are not afraid when the earth shakes, when the mountains topple into the middle of the seas. They may rage and foam, the mountains may quake when it lifts up high. A river with its streams rejoices God's city, a holy place where the great dwelling of the One on high is. God being in its midst, it will not topple. God helps it as morning arrives. Nations rage, kingdoms totter. When he gives his voice, the earth dissolves. Yahweh armies is with us. Jacob's God is a tower for us. Go and look at the deeds of Yahweh, who brought about great destruction in the earth, halting battles to the end of the earth. When he shatters the bow and snaps the spear, burns chariots in the fire, stop and acknowledge that I am God. I will be high among the nations. I will be high in the earth. Yahweh armies is with us. Jacob's God is a tower for us. I think what struck me with that is the bit that we normally have as "be still and know that I am God," which sounds very nice and pleasant, and we're sitting somewhere wonderful and being quiet with God. He translates as "stop and acknowledge that I am God." And he says what the psalmist is trying to do is bring God's words and say, look, stop fighting each other and recognize that I'm God. And I think in the current political and situations that we have in the world, that's a word that people need to hear. Just stop fighting, just stop killing each other, and know that I'm God. It's an invitation as well, I suppose, to just stop rushing around. For us who are here this week, and for those who visited for today, and just have a moment of oasis, if you like, to stop rushing around and doing what we like, and for a moment to spend time concentrating on God. To stop thinking somehow that we are going to come up with a solution. Well, Israel didn't experience peace at that time, and it still hasn't got peace now. So, yeah, but this psalm has been picked up all through the ages by many people. And it was Martin Luther, not to be confused, John Goldingay says, with Martin Luther King Jr. Sometimes people get them mixed up. But Martin Luther, who lived in the 1500s, of course, took the start of that hymn, for those words for his hymn. A mighty fortress is our God. And Martin Luther, of course, stood up against the church at the time and was not popular from what he said. But he proved that, that you can look at things in a different way and still find God. And maybe that's what we're about in this week, to look at things in a different way. And it was lovely, Robin's song, that we're just doing something different. and we're trying to find God in a different way. So you don't normally spend a week, those that are resident here, in a retreat place in the coast of Sussex, being served your meals and having worship every day. So it's something different. For those that are here all the time, you have to find something else that's different. But no doubt you'll manage to do that. So whether you're familiar with what goes on this week or whether it's something totally new to you, may you find God in it. May you know that God is with you. And may you find times, yes, to be still, times to worship, times to give thanks, times to just know that God is with you. Sometimes it's difficult to stop battles. And I remember, I tell people this story sometimes. Remember when I was at school, I don't know what games children play these days, but most of the games that we played were war games. We just played Germans and English, Union and Confederacy. And one day we decided to play Zulu. When you remember the film, and the scene in the film where the British forces in their red coats are charged by thousands of Zulus, and we reenacted that. We had a small group at one end of the playground who were the British troops. I was one of them. And the rest of the school charged us. They all ran across the playground towards us, and they were good, and they were taking their shots, and we had all these bodies lying around in front of us until one of the teachers came out and said, "Stop this game, stop this war, if you like," because he thought it was a riot, I think. It's difficult to stop wars, isn't it? And we do pray for all those who are working today to try and not let these wars escalate, who are trying to bring peace. And we do pray to God that he would bring peace to our world once more. So let's be still for a moment with that thought on our heart.